Right, so we are going to continue going over solving quadratic equations by factoring. Recall yesterday on the zero product property, we were given factors already for us from the product, so all we had to do was solve. So you want to set each of those equations equal to 0. We know that we're going to do the opposite in the pattern. So that +3 becomes -3. That -2 becomes +2. Also make sure that you're using set notation. You need to just use squiggles. Don't use parentheses. Okay. Now we're going to talk about a situation and we're going to go to the next level. So this is the basic level. Now we're going to the next level. We want to talk about that we can solve this quadratic the same way, but first we must factor. Now this has no bx term, or not no bx term, no c term. Okay, because it has no c term, we're going to factor this just a little teeny bit differently. Okay, we want to you can do the area model, but I think it's going to be easier for you to think of it in terms of taking out a GCF and thinking about the common factors. So if I look at 2 and 4, the common number that is in 2 and 4 is 2. If I pull out a 2, that's 2 times 1, and this is 2 times 2. Because 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So that means I can pull out a 2. So if I pull out a 2, those 2's are gone, and I'm left with a 1, and I'm left with a 2 on this side of the parentheses. Now let's talk about the variable. So if I look at the variable, I have 2 x's here, and I have 1 x there. So since I have an x present in both, that means I can pull out an x. So that x is gone. Now, think about this first term. What's left? 1x. So that becomes x. Now, think about the second term. What am I left with? A +2. So I'm going to put +2. Now we finished factoring. Okay, now I'm going to split this off to the 2x equals 0 and the x plus 2 equals 0. Using solving equation rules, I'm going to divide both sides on the first equation by the coefficient of x, which is 2. So that 2 divided by 2 becomes 1. So that gives me x is equal to 0, because 0 divided by any number is 0. The second equation, I'm going to do the inverse of +2, which makes that become -2. So that becomes x is equal to -2. All right. Now we're going to talk about the next situation where we have this trinomial, and we have to recall the rules in factoring this trinomial and getting the two binomials. We can use the box method to factor this trinomials. So I'd already set up for you, the first term goes in your area for your first box. The last term, the C term, goes in the area of your last box. So this is your A term, this is your C term, and then the sum of these two terms equal your B term, which is -3. This is A, this is B, this is C. Okay. Now I'm going to think of the factors of -10. We know that the product is negative, so that means the sum, one needs to be negative and one needs to be positive. Now the factors of -10 are 2 and 5, 1 and 10. One needs to be negative. I'm going to make the higher number negative because our sum is negative. It says -3. -5 plus 2 gives us -3. So we're not going to use the 1 and 10. We're going to use -5 and +2. When we're going to take the side lengths of x squared, that's going to give me x and x. -5x divided by x is going to give me -5. 2x divided by x is going to give me +2. So our factors are going to be x minus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. You must always make sure that you are setting your equation equal to 0, or your factors equal to 0, in order to solve. Now, again, we know the inside of the parenthesis lies, so that becomes -2 and +5. Notice I did switch up the order. I always try to put my smallest solution first. So you want to list your numbers from lowest to greatest. And that pretty much concludes the lesson